I just want to quickly share with you 3 of the most highly recommended Thoth books for a beginner, which I've obtained from a variety of inputs and research about a year and a half ago. So ever since then, I'm sure there are other books that came into the market, whether it's new translation or newly written, one of which is, of course, the Keyword handbook by Johannes and somebody else, which was translated from German. It sounded like that just came out recently. And so I was quite intrigued by that. And then I remember a year and a half ago when I was searching for a beginner's handbook, a few of them recommended that I stay away from keywords books, and so I didn't quite understand why, but I followed their advice. And so there's a couple of Banzaf's books. One is this one here, the Crowley Tarot, the Handbook to the Cards, and the other one I think is more focused on keywords. And so I picked this, and the other keyword, so there is that keyword book by Banzaf, and the other keyword is by Johannes, that lists all the symbols, and then it gives you all the, it's like a shortcut. And so from my understanding of people who read, who are Thoth readers, that this because it sits on a larger infrastructure that is Aleister Crowley's teaching. I think it's called Thelema. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Thelema. And so the Book of Thoth is his, if I want to call it a Bible perhaps, but it is like his own theology. Again, if I can call it a theology, it is a huge, heavy-going book. And I looked through it, and a lot of it it just went over my head. And I thought to myself, this is something that you really spend years studying. And indeed, a lot of experienced thought readers said that you cannot understand the thought completely, or in a level that you should, or in a level that in a level of appreciation that you would have had if you understand it in a more complete way. But that take years, and some people spend the rest of their lives, or all their lives, understanding the Thoth Tarot. But we all have to start somewhere, and so the recommendation came for these 3 books are with footnotes and with sort of caveats. Some of them say that Duquette is a bit of a fanboy of Crowley and sort of represent him in a not so accurate way. Others felt that these sort of shortcutty ones are sort of discounting a certain aspect or nuances of Crowley's teaching and all that. But so with that in mind, usually I only have one book, how-to handbook, that sort of thing. Like with Waite's decks, I really am reluctant to buy even 2. After almost over 2 years, I have like 2 books, that's it. And even then I was really reluctant to get them because, with Crowley's, on the other hand, I have to get a Kabbalah book, which I have one that I will share with you. And I didn't really want to go into Kabbalah, but I found that I have to. And so I was quite reluctant even to buy that one book. So that one book about Kabbalah that I bought, I researched it to death at least a year and a half ago. And I wanted it to be just the one book that I don't have to supplement. And so similarly with this, but in order to gain the fullest spectrum, I felt that I needed to just get all the 3 books that seems to be the most highly recommended for beginners, with all sorts of caveats from experienced Thoth readers. So this one was about whether he is representing Crowley's in its purest sense, but who can. Everyone's representation of other people is always going to be filtered through their own lenses and their own life experiences with the person. And then, so let me start with this one here, which is, I feel to be most similar to the Keyword handbook that we saw recently going around YouTube by Johannes, because it simply lists symbols and what they mean symbols. It just talks. Suspended from her crown are balanced spheres, equating the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, blah, blah, blah. And it just goes on, and that's it. And then there's an interpretation of the card. That's it. Simple. There's the difference is that, so there's the tree of life over there. There's all this stuff. The difference is that it doesn't have, the symbols aren't listed. It's verbally described, but you don't see the pictures. So I saw that, I think, with the Banzaf keyword book and with the Johannes keyword book, I think there are pictures of each of the symbols that the book's talking about. So that's probably a plus, looking at that. So I am going to take a look at that and see if I can replace this book with that, or whether, not that I'm going to get rid of this, because, it's not that much, and being where I am, it's going to cost a lot more trying to move this book along than to just simply keep it. So I might just keep it. So that's that. And then, of course, there's this one by Akron and Banzav, published by US Games. This one here, it has explanation of all the symbols, and then their own opinion of those symbols and of the cards. So that's that. I found that to be quite interesting. Some of it talk about Siegfried and Brunhilde from one of Wagner's pieces, and talk about the card in that manner. And then it has sort of other discussions, basically. So it discussed the symbols, it discussed the cards and all that you see in the cards, like the heavenly egg, and then there's Aeon, the new age, Horus the elder, and then they're talking about all this other stuff in the Aeon card, which is the equivalent to judgment, and then interpretation, and then there is all this other input, like there's the I Ching, the element, deities, mythology, cult sites, numbers, letters, archetypes. So it's extrapolated further by Akron and Banzaf. It's sort of list of symbols and then a step further with their own input. This one here is unique, and I think for now, it's irreplaceable. It isn't a perfect representation of Crowley or Crowley's Thoth, perhaps, from the point of view of people who know Crowley's teaching very well. But for a beginner, I found this to be quite, it has all that, explanation of everything. That's the different element in the Rosicrucian cross, examined one by one, which is great. But so there's all that. It's just great, just the bit there. I mean, that's not even the card yet. That's that thick. We haven't even gone to the cards yet. And so for me, that's invaluable as an introductory text. And again, the footnote and the caveat should be that with Crowley's Thoth, it is never going to be a one-book affair. Learning the Thoth is not like learning Rider-Waite-Smith. I would like one day to have the original texts that Waite produced. I think it's called the Symbolic Images of the Tarot or something. But, you could feel, you read intuitively, whatever, but I think you could probably do that to a certain extent with the Thoth, but it's just so rich in symbols that you'd be missing too much if you don't try to study it a bit more. Here it has, like, for example, the card, and then the usual stuff, the Hebrew letter, the zodiac, the Leo is for lust, that's the strength card. And what I like about it is the original design as they were with the Golden Dawn. A smiling woman holds the open jaws of a fierce and powerful lion. So that's the original design. And then it has this little clips over here of correspondences between Harris and Crowley, like this one here. Well, you must understand the feeling of it. Now, how do you feel if you see nice chocolates and there you get them and how good they taste? That is a picture of how you feel about those chocolates. Harris to Crowley, March 25, 1942. I love that personal stories. For me, the way I approach tarot have been as such that the stories of the creator, the voice of the creator behind the scene, if I can see that, it makes the deck come alive for me. And so I like that little bits of clips there, just glimpses of Crowley and Lady Frida Harris going back and forth talking about each cards, and then it has the explanation of the card. But mainly for me, the uniqueness of this one, for now, I haven't seen any other book. Perhaps there are other books out there that also does this, but I haven't seen them. So just between the three books, I like the fact that it has the original design of each card as the Golden Dawn prescribed them for their initiates, and where apparently they then have to draw their own cards, which is why a lot of them weren't artists, so a lot of them look quite awkward from the documents that I could see. But the description are like that, and that little clips of going back and forth between Harris and Crowley. And so that's that one there, and of course, that bit at the front, that's pretty good. So I know that there's so many Thoth handbook out there, and by no means the lists are not at all exhaustive for people who are just starting the Thoth Tarot, but I just want to share with you the three most recommended books that I found at the time, which is about 1.5 years ago, in light of new incoming handbooks that perhaps came in the last year or so, that I am going to check out as well, and revise my sort of introduction to Thoth sort of collection with. But for now, that's the three books that after a large consultation and a bit of research, that I found to be most highly recommended for whatever reason, and that every Thoth tarot reader will have different takes on what a beginner should focus on, or what a beginner's book should look like. So you will have a variety there. Not everyone will agree on what is the best beginner's books, but I found at the time 1.5 years ago, these three are the most mentioned by most Thoth tarot reader for beginners. Bye.